Let's discuss three commonly used terms and practices when working with type. These all relate to spacing. Leading refers to the space between the lines within a paragraph. Leading can be confused with paragraph spacing, but should not be. As seen in the previous videos, paragraph spacing was created using the paragraph features in InDesign. We went here, and as you can see, we added our spacing here. We added it below the paragraph. Line spacing is different. It's the space between the lines that exist within this paragraph. This is the paragraph. As you can see, the paragraph symbol, there's one paragraph here, one paragraph here. This paragraph has two soft returns inside of it. I press Shift Enter rather to create a new line, but this is one paragraph. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs. This is the only paragraph that has multiple lines, so it's a good candidate for line spacing or leading. Both are interchangeable terms. These are not paragraph options, these are character options, so I will jump over to the character options, and here we go. Right now we've got 10-point type with a 12-point leading, because auto leading is 120%, and this is 100%. So it's always 20% more, 10% on the top and the bottom of the character. That's how spacing is created. Well, we're going to skip the auto leading and add 13, or 14, or 15, or 16, or 17. And as you can see, that's changing the amount of space inside that individual paragraph. If I set this back to auto, it'll jump back to 12. I can even highlight the individual lines themselves and add space. So this line appears to drop lower than the space between, and the lines of type is 18 points. The space between is 12 points. As you can see the difference here. And this can look like paragraph spacing, but it's not. We'll set this back to auto, and I'll show you how what I just did is one way of formatting without using paragraph spacing, but paragraph spacing is preferred. However, that is letting the space between the lines. That's how you do it. A really cool keystroke is to hold down the Alt key and the up and down arrow, and as you can see, it jumps by 2-point increments, but that is another way to adjust the leading. Tracking is different. Tracking is a space between groups of letters. It's very important that you remember the whole group thing, because kerning will get confusing if you don't hold on to the fact that it has to do with groups. If I select this paragraph right here, in fact, I do want you to note that the very last part of this paragraph is the wrong typeface. So when I highlight across here, I don't see anything up here. So I'm going to set this to universe, and we'll jump down here to bold. And you'll notice all the way across it says universe bold. I'm very specific when it comes to that, because it can get confusing. Look, this wasn't showing up either. I want to set that to 12 points. Okay. So all the way across. I love to see my hidden characters. It shows me things like that. That can cause you problems. Like to highlight the whole line and see it. All my numbers should be set right here. So if I want to add some space between, this is what tracking looks like. It's right here. This is tracking. So as you can see, my tracking is changing. 50, 60, 70. And the space between the letters changes. This is positive tracking. If I go the other direction, I can also do negative tracking. Whatever group of letters or characters I select, I can add space between them. That is what tracking is. If I hold down the Alt key and left and right, I can also add positive or negative tracking. And last but not least is kerning. Kerning is not letter spacing, and the two commonly get confused. The difference is you highlight groups of characters to add space with tracking. This kerning involves clicking between a pair of characters or letters, such as the K and the E in this case, and I can add some space between them. Right now the kerning is set to -15. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but I'm going to alter that. And as you can see, now it's 90, 100. So the space between the K and the E is set to 140. I'm going to set this to 0. This is tracking. This is kerning. Now kerning, if you hold down the Alt key and press left and right, you can also add space between characters. And as you can see, the kerning is changing up here. I'll set this back to 0. Now I'm going to highlight across this line. I do want you to know I'm having the same issue with this line I had with this line here, and I am particular, and I suggest you do the same. I'm going to fix that in my example here, just to show you a common problem, in action. That's how I would fix it. Well, one fun feature in InDesign I'll toss into this video is if I highlight this line here, which there's a little bit of a mistake in it, and I go get my eyedropper tool, I can click and copy the formatting from this line to that line with the eyedropper tool, as you just saw. Quick trick, but the goal today is to learn letting is the space between the lines, tracking is the space between groups of letters, and kerning is the space between pairs of letters. Again, these are very common terms that any student of graphic design or typography should know.